What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adobe Photoshop Masterclass course. We are entering the bonus section now. This is going to be creating a lower third from scratch. And pretty much this is where we left off, right? We did the album cover, animated album cover. And, it turned out really, really cool. Overall, the project turned out nicely. And basically, we're going to go down the same route now, okay? We're going to go down the route of just seeing a project through from start to finish, and I'm going to introduce projects that you would actually be working through, essentially. So the next couple lessons are pretty much just going to be live projects, stuff that I, as a graphic designer and overall media person, would be creating for clients, and this would be a live example of legitimate projects, right? So let's go up here to File, New, and let's create a 1920 by 1080p document. Basically, this right here is going to be a lower third, essentially, and you guys can actually go to resources as well and get a couple things downloaded. These will be stuff we'll be applying, but overall we're gonna do the basics just with Photoshop, the shape tool, and a couple of our different tools. So first off, we'll actually just keep this layer here because it'll enable us to just have a nice blank canvas to basically contrast what we're going to be creating. And let's actually go ahead and navigate to the shape tool. Okay. So I want to go over here, I want to go ahead and get the rectangle tool. And I want to literally just go ahead and draw a rectangle just like that, okay? So we're drawing one, and pretty much I want to actually build the outline of it first. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just lay out an outline. So I'm more or less just duplicating this. And this will be a little bit more of a speed through. I'll explain what I'm doing as I go, of course, if I think you guys will be sort of just maybe not too sure. But overall, I'm kind of just gonna roll through this, all right? So let's actually go ahead and build the basic outline of it, right? It's going to be something like that, I'd imagine. And essentially, I've got a kind of cool idea where I want to do sort of like an abstract situation where maybe we've got a box right here and a box right here, okay? So we've got two boxes on each other. It might look a little bit weird for the time being, but overall, we got two boxes right here, and I want to use box right here to be like the image box, if you will, and box right here to be the text box and everything like that, all right? So let's actually go ahead and maybe make the box right here a different color. So this is a shape layer, right? So it remains editable. We can actually go up here to fill and actually just go ahead and get the RGB wheel and maybe just make this kind of like a lighter gray or something like that. That seems kind of cool, something that just contrasts it a little bit, and maybe go down here and make this not even a perfect black, but also like maybe just a slightly darker version, right? Now, by the way, we're going to actually use textures, the ones that I've given you guys to download right here, to be able to, make these look a little bit more official in a second. But for the time being, let's build those up right there. And let's actually just go ahead and zoom in, have a look. Maybe even make this one a little bit smaller, maybe something like that. Something that's not quite as imposing. And then let's actually go over here to our lower third project, which I've got to go ahead and grab real quick. Let me go ahead here. Let me go to Photoshop Masterclass, and let's go ahead and grab the bonus section, lower third, and we can actually go ahead and import the headshot. So go ahead and import the headshot if you downloaded it. It's going to be right here, and we're going to be shrinking this massively. So let's go ahead and just start shrinking this down here until the head is sort of around that size. But then let's actually go ahead and get the marquee tool, right? The marquee rectangle. Click, hold shift so we make more like a perfect box. Go ahead and make a box around my face and press Control C and Control V, which is going to copy and paste it up here into its own layer. Perfect. Now we can press Control T, get those adjustments up, bring that down here, and actually just go ahead and plop that into the box, and then just go ahead and adjust it around until it sort of evenly sits right there in the middle of the box. And just like that, we're instantly starting to tag something on, right? You're seeing that there is sort of one key element of the lower third, which is, the actual talker's face, the specific image of them, right? Looking pretty cool indeed. Now, one thing I'm also noticing is it looks like this one's going to need to be a little bit smaller. However, before we do that, we should probably just go ahead and start maybe writing some stuff out. So let's actually get a text tool, right? And we can actually go ahead and make a brand new layer and actually click. And that layer will turn into a text layer, just like that. And what we can go ahead and do is write my name. So I'm going to go ahead and write my name. And by the way, if you guys have used a picture of yourself, that would also make total sense here as well. So by all means, even though I'm saying Jack Cole and I'm using a picture of my face, use a picture of your face if you want, and write your name. By all means, I will. I'll not be offended. That makes perfect sense to me. So let's go ahead and write my name right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put Jack Cole. However, what I'm also gonna go ahead and do is actually click it and actually just make this into a little bit more of a professional font. Maybe like a maybe something that's not italic, right? Looking kind of cool. Still looking a little bit too bold. Maybe we write Gotham, and we get a Gotham book, for example. That's looking semi respectable. I'm liking it. Then maybe we make it a little bit smaller here. Maybe bring that maybe right there. And it's looking kind of cool. It's looking kind of cool. However, I'm still thinking that right there, position wise, might not be 10 out of 10, but we'll go ahead and leave it there for the time being. I'm just going to write Jack Cole, and then I'm also going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm going to go ahead and write www.jackcole.tube. And that is actually going to go ahead and be my URL to my website, right? My YouTube channel, more specifically, but that is the sort of website link that I want people to have. So I'm actually going to go ahead and write that there, but I'm going to actually double click it with the text tool, and I'm going to go over to the font, and I'm actually going to have a look here and see if I can go ahead and get a light one, and I'm going to get that light italic, so that's a little bit of a difference here. And I'm also going to highlight me right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and have a look around and think to myself, I'm going to switch those around. That's not very useful for me right now. But I'm actually going to open up the properties here, and I'm just going to have a look if I can mess around with some stuff, right? Maybe if I can get it looking a little bit better. Potentially not. And in fact, that right there is an example of maybe trying something that could work but could not. Guys, this is a pattern as me as a videographer and my bad, videographer, graphic designer, right? That's obviously I am a videographer as well, but as a graphic designer, I try a lot of stuff, and as a videographer as well, I try a fair few stuff, and the first one doesn't hit, but the sixth attempt does, right? So that's usually the way that I'm operating. But let's actually go ahead and just make this one a little bit smaller. It is looking a little bit too bold in my opinion. And let's actually highlight both of these, bring them in. And actually, what I might even go ahead and do is I might even have it nice and small like this. So if we actually go ahead and bring these right here, even make them a little bit bigger so they sort of like hit the edge. If you see what I'm going for, they hit the bottom of that picture of me. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and get the rectangle, and I'm actually just going to bring it in a little bit like that. And I might even go ahead and pop it right here. Might even make it a little bit bigger, bring it up a bit, and go ahead and put it right there. And just like that, if we actually select these, all of them, drag them out a little bit, pull them over, we are building a really nice lower third right off the bat. And in fact, I'll probably have the Jack Cole hit the bottom of that, so those are in line, and then that's hanging down right there. And just like that, if we actually click, hold shift, and select everything here, we can actually go ahead and and actually click. Oh, never mind. Let's actually just go ahead and leave those how they are. And just like that, we are building a pretty cool situation. That's what I was meant to do. I was meant to highlight everything, press Control-T, and now we can actually, we've got everything basically highlighted. We can make that a little bit bigger. And just like that, we're building something cool. However, still, it's looking very basic. The reason for that is a couple things. I want to go ahead and add a web logo. So we've got the web logo right here. Drag that in. Go ahead and go down here to effects. Go ahead to color overlay. Just quickly make that white, which obviously you can't see it, but press Control-T, and it emerges. It appears. And then we can actually go ahead and just drag that down here and go ahead and just put that here. And I'm thinking I just want to have that right next to the actual link itself, and I can actually go ahead and zoom in. It's not looking perfect right now, but if I go ahead and bring it down to more of a respectable size in comparison to the actual link itself, and then we can actually get the link itself and the web logo and simply drag those out. And just like that, we want that to go the full length of the lower third, even just like that. Perfect. And just like that, it's starting to shape up. However, I'm thinking the web logo actually does a little bit too much intrusion, and I'm going to actually go ahead and bring that over. So again, it's literally trial and error. Trial and error. I planned this for you guys. I said I'm going to do a lower third. However, I definitely did not plan it to the extent that I did it before doing it, right? So I wanted to do this live and I wanted to see what happens. Let's delete the web logo. Let's go ahead and get the jackcole.tube. Let's drag that over a little bit. It's looking nice. It's looking nice. And now what I'm thinking we should do is, I'm literally just deciding this as we go. There's a blank space right here which needs to go because design-wise it doesn't look correct. So let's actually go ahead and bring this over here. Maybe even bring the Jack Cole over as well. Oh, double-clicked something too much. Go ahead and bring that there. I'm thinking also the Jack Cole might want to be a little bit more bold. So let's get that. Let's go ahead and make that medium. Something a little bit more defined, right? Pretty good, pretty good. The jackcole.tube also is not looking great italic. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just type in Gotham. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and get Gotham Light regular. So not italic. And also I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these and simply drag them over a little bit. Right? So just like that. Now we are cooking. All right, and it's and now that's looking a little bit more reputable. So you see what we did? We did maybe like 3 different mix arounds to the point that we got something that's looking sort of, you know, basically believable, right? It's looking legitimate. It's looking good to me. And in fact, I might even go ahead and get that Jack Cole tube, make it a little bit smaller. However, what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is actually, yeah, go ahead and make that Jack Cole.tube a tiny bit smaller. The tiniest bit, literally the tiniest bit. Go ahead and get this, drag it over, and just like that, we're cooking. Nice. Looking good, looking good, looking good, looking great. Highlight those, make them a tiny bit bigger. This is really the perfectionist type of stuff that I'm leaving in here because it is legit. This is an accurate representation of exactly how I do it. So now let's go back here. Let's get a texture. I want to grab texture 2, drag it over, and see what we can make work, right? Let's actually go ahead and pop that here. Pop it over everything and drag it underneath the text. And we can also, or actually bring this one down here as well. Oh, actually no. And we can actually go here and use a blending mode. So I just want to literally use a blending mode. See what happens here if I try and blend this in. As you see right there, it's looking okay. But we just try a couple different blending modes and see if anything's working. Overall, it's not looking phenomenal. So what I'm thinking is, pattern number 2 might be the one. But as we see right there, actually, texture 1, it's added a little something to it. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing too wild, but it's added a little something. So let's get texture number 2. Texture number 2 is a little bit more solidified across the board, I think. So what we can actually go ahead and do here is literally just make that something that we could see a fair bit, maybe that, and then start bringing it down a little bit. So that essentially we've got a little bit of a pattern going on in the background, and even get texture number 2 and actually delete it. And then have a look here. Oh, that's the perfect one I'm going for. So vivid light, if we maybe even put this on 50, something like that. And I'll tell you what we can also do is even get this, the actual brush. Go ahead and make that a soft round, and make that a little bit bigger, maybe around there. And actually go ahead and just run that through the actual text itself. So essentially you have a pattern everywhere, but it's not actually sort of pushing in on the actual design itself. And then I actually want to get the picture of me and the other little thing, bring that down a little bit, make that just a little bit more bite size, something a little bit more small and respectable. And we're actually approaching the end of this now. What I want to do is the finishing touches. So let's actually get Jack Cole, pull that up, make everything look legitimate and sort of finished, if you will. And I want to just do a couple finishing touches. So the finishing touches I'm going to do is also bring this, duplicate the texture, bring that up here, bring that below my face, but onto the actual picture itself. Go ahead and pop that there. Wonderful, looking good. In fact, I might even want to delete the one below. So we've got, that's looking pretty decent. Now what we also want to do is actually go ahead and get texture, highlight the actual rectangle itself. Oh, go ahead and delete that. Make that a smart object, highlight the actual layer itself. Go ahead and make rectangle a smart object as well. Go ahead and highlight the rectangle as well. And go ahead and just press Control-C, Control-V on the actual layer. Go ahead down here, get that to vivid light, wasn't it? What was it? There we go. Soft light's actually looking pretty good now as well. Go ahead and throw soft light on there. Looking pretty cool. And also what I want to go down here do is get the rectangle and trim off some edges. This right here is where I get a little bit more designery, right? I want to just scale down this text a final time. Scale it down maybe to about there. Bring the rectangle, or bring it over just like this. Bring it over just like this. And now I want to get the pen tool. I want to click here. I want to click here. Boom, boom, boom. Right click, go to make selection, press OK, and go ahead and press delete. And just like that, I want to shave off an edge just there. And then I want to go here up to the top, go here, or actually go here, then go here, then go here, then go here, then go here. Right click in the middle, make selection, and go ahead and slice that off of the picture, the sort of other bit, and that bit right there. So we got a slice going straight through the middle right there, and a slice going straight through the middle right there as well. And just like that, we have essentially diced it up a little bit, made the edges just a little bit more, I don't know, just different essentially, so it just looked a little bit more custom. And now what we can actually go ahead and do is get the rectangle itself, and actually it's two different rectangles, isn't it? So we can actually go ahead and highlight all of this. Go ahead to here, make a new folder, call this lower third main. Press enter, press Control S, save this one. I'm realizing that actually we haven't saved from the whole time, so we're going to want to go ahead and save this, make sure that we're not losing anything. Save this as lower third, simple. Save, and then just like that, we can actually go here and add a little bit of drop shadow. And I've realized, obviously, we have to cut off a little bit of the border too. No problem. In fact, there's maybe multiple borders I want to cut off. So maybe we add that little lower third right there, and go ahead and get the actual layer itself. Get a pen tool. Go ahead and just, or the eraser tool, and just go ahead and erase some of that off the side. Lovely. Also, maybe right here, the actual layer itself could have a tiny bit of shadow on it. Right, the tiniest. But 120 degrees, that right there adds a nice little effect. It's looking pretty cool. And overall, that right there is looking done to me. There you go. Right there we have, in about 15-20 minutes, we've built a nice little lower third that we could keep tweaking a little bit and make it even more perfect. But overall, it is a basic lower third that we have built. We can turn off the background, so it is a transparent PNG. And then we can actually press Control S or Control Shift S. Come over here, go to PNG. Save this as JC lower third. Go ahead and press enter. The options to save will pop up. Go ahead and press OK. And then we can see this right here. It has created a nice lower third for us. And it says Jack Cole, www.jackcole.tube. Slice through the top, slice through the bottom. Just a little bit of a, I don't know, just some sort of little finishing touch, if you know what I mean. Finishing move. If we zoom in, we see that it does have kind of a cool premium texture to it or whatever. And things that we could do if we really wanted to finalize it 100% will be take a slice out the top of that, take a slice out of there, take a slice out of there. But overall, that right there for a bonus project is pretty nice. How to build a lower third. Basically, you can do it using the shape tools and an image of yourself and the text tool. And, you know, a couple little cool things like a chop or whatever. But overall, that right there is the lower third example done and dusted.